Brunch with Eleanor Rigby. My heart wasn't in it. She sat opposite me, slightly pale. We had tea and a fruit scone in silence. We took in the song of clinks, chatter, and a cup slammed on the table by baby hands. I wept. She made an excuse and went home. I rang to let her know she had left the bag of wedding rice behind. She never answered.
This is Teacher's Talk starting today. Simone Sav, you are very welcome here. Thank you for being here today. Good afternoon, everybody. Hi, Simone. How are you? Hi, Kerstin. Hi, Roy. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Como vai você?
I'm good,
Como vai
Roy.
você, Fernanda? Good? Yeah?
Very, very good.
Fluent. I'm fluent in Portuguese.
Yes, you are. You are better in Portuguese than I am in English. Absolutely, yes.
Never.
Today is Poetry Day, and we have a poet here, a female poet, which is double time more important because, you know, this is still, how do you feel, Simone? Is this a very, very male stuff, like writing poems? How do you feel?
I think it used to be. I think, like a lot of professions, artists, everything, it used to be male. I think there's a lot more scope for ladies and female poets and writers to be out there. Perhaps there's still that little bit of prejudice, as J.K. Rowling kind of tested out, which is why she never went by her initials when she published Harry Potter by Joanne. She just went J.K. But I do find there is a lot more openness to female poets, and especially in Ireland, I find the scene quite welcoming.
Very good. Hi, Kerstin. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
Even if it's pouring rain outside.
What about German poets? Do you have many?
So
what's your
we
favorite
actually
one?
do have many, but I really have to admit I'm not very into poetry. So I had to Google a little bit for some German poetry. But I found many poems about spring, actually, which is what we are striking for at the moment. We need warm weather
spring so
in Germany.
Far in this, yes. And
it was horrible. There was no spring so far, maybe 2 or 3 days, and that was it.
So what have you now? Are you still in the middle of spring? Are you in summer?
It should be spring. Yeah. It should be. But when I look outside, maybe the blossoms are there now. But the weather isn't like spring. It's too cold. It's much too cold here in Germany. And I think it wasn't that cold for about 37 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Very cold.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, we only had maybe 3 or 4 days above 20 degrees. And then more like between 2 and 10 degrees.
I think it's cold. 10 degrees.
Yeah, it's cold.
Yeah. Hi, Marcus. How are you? Hi, everybody. How are you doing today? I wish you all a fantastic evening. We do wish you the same, Marcus. Thank you for coming. And Marcus, please tell us what's your favorite poet in Brazil or in Portuguese or other languages. What about you, Mr. Roy Willoughby? What's your favorite poet? Do you have any? Can you write a poem?
Can I write a poem? No, I have written parodies of songs, I suppose. Simone will tell you that after our drama productions, we sometimes have we always have a post-play party, and I try and write a song that takes the Mickey out, if you know that phrase, of the production and the the actors and everybody involved, and I tried to put it to a popular song. So to that extent, I suppose I write a type of poetry that fits into an already existing meter. I like the tune of a song. That is, I think is relevant, and it normally has a chorus that everyone can join in on too. But I a bit like Kerstin, I suppose I'm not that into poetry. I do like it, I hope I will be able to. Our plan is that Neil O'Shea, who we hope will arrive, was going to read one of my favorite poems by Patrick Kavanagh, who is one of our most famous poets, called Raglan Road. And I will wait for Neil to arrive. Hopefully he will arrive. There he is. We saved the best wine till the last.
You didn't,
right.
You didn't tell me I would need my Facebook password.
Oh, yes. No, you didn't. Yes, there was extra security to get into this this studio today. But I was just I just continued on my Facebook, so I got in. But you had to go and look for your password. All right.
Yeah, because I know Fernanda and Roya. I don't know any of my passwords off by heart. You see, so I have to search every time I need it.
I'm the same. I have a folder here on my cell phone, and then I just type the password, and then I shouldn't say this, but anyway, yes. I don't have.
Go on, give your password out for you. What's your PIN number for your? Oh, there. That's a poetry of bells ringing. Who's calling? Who's calling?
Who is this? Keep going, Roy, please.
Neil, you haven't met Kerstin, have you? From Germany, and Neil is a former colleague of mine at the English studio in Dublin, and an actor, and what else can I describe you as? A tennis player, as a a good chap, But
that's it. Hi, Kerstin. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Who's that in the middle?
Simone Sav.
Hello.
Who you have met from Leeson Park Players, and haven't you? Have you seen her on stage? Yeah. Neil has come to a lot of our productions, and he in Leeson Park, and she. Are you on the committee, Simone? You are, aren't you?
Yes. Yeah.
So she is a very important person.
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah. But anyway, Kerstin was telling us about a poem she found about spring. I think, is that right, Kerstin?
Yes, and that's right.
Yeah?
Because I thought, the weather is too bad here in Germany, and we need something, to lighten our hearts,
to lift our spirits. Yeah.
And actually, this poem is written by Eduard Mörike. Do you know him? Have you ever heard of him?
Edward Murko. No, Murko?
Yeah, the German pronunciation, Eduard Mörike. And he was a German romantic poet and a prose writer. And he lived in the first half of the 19th century. So he was born 1804, and he lived until 1875. And so he wrote a poem about spring. What I'm going to do, or what I could do, is I could read the German lines and then I can translate it, or I could read both. So what would you prefer? What would be better?
If it's not too long.
Oh, it's quite short.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
only 2 minutes.
Read the German version and then read the English version. Yeah.
So
okay.
The title is ist's, which means it's him, or it's spring. And in German, Frühling lässt sein blaues Band wieder flattern durch die Lüfte. Süße, wohlbekannte Düfte streifen ahnungsvoll das Land. Veilchen träumen schon, wollen balde kommen. Horch von fern ein leiser Hafenton. Frühling, ja, du bist's. Dich hab ich vernommen. Now the translation here, it's him. Spring lets its blue ribbon once again flutter through the airs. Sweet, well-known scents portentously streak the country. Violets already dream. Want to come soon. Listen, from far away a sweet harp. Spring, it's you. I've heard you. That's it.
Oh, very good. Beautiful. Wonderful.
Very nice.
Great.
Yeah.
I heard a Frühlein. Frühlein. It's not Fraulein. It's Frühlein.
Frühling.
Yeah, what's that?
Spring.
Oh, spring.
Yeah.
Frühling. Yeah.
Yes.
Excuse my ignorance. Frühling. Yeah.
And it's written. There are many poetries or poems like this because spring is always something we are waiting for here in Germany because it doesn't come so early.
Yeah.
True.
That's why there are so many poems about spring.
Hello, Mr. Gaudiê. How are you?
Hello, Mrs. Fernanda. Hello.
Yes.
Two members of the Otero family.
Yeah.
That's right. Yes. How are you, Gaudiê?
Oh, good. Oh, good. Oh, good. Thanks, Lord. Oh, good.
He's teaching English.
He's teaching English, Neil. Do you believe this? Yes, he is.
No, really?
So, Neil, you were such a good teacher, Neil, that he has become an English teacher. And I was such a good teacher because I taught Fernanda, and she has become an English teacher. So we must be very good teachers.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Well, Neil, would you start and would you please read just, I don't know, because we will read. I think you don't need reading a poem, do you?
Well, I do. I'm going to read on Raglan Road, which Roy is going to sing then. Is that okay?
Yes, please. Just tell us what's the story about this.
I have no idea. I don't know what it's about.
Well, it's a true story. It's a true story. Yeah, it's about a story that Neil and I know a lot about. Unrequited love, where where you fancy someone and they don't fancy you. And this Patrick Kavanagh was a poet, and this, as far as I know, was written in the 60s, I think. And he was in Dublin, and he saw this beautiful woman on Raglan Road, and she was a real Irish woman called Hilda O'Meara-Hurtig, and she was so beautiful that he wrote this poem about her. Wanting to be, that he fell in love with her, I suppose. He was infatuated by her, but she didn't feel the same way. And it's a poetic account of that. But interestingly enough, this woman, Hilda O'Meara-Hurtig, went on to marry Donna O'Malley, who became Minister for Education in the Irish government and was the person responsible for introducing free secondary education. Am I right in that?
Yes,
free secondary education, wasn't it? Not
and university. No, schools.
So I mean, she married him, and poor Patrick was left pining away. But he wasn't like when he was writing poetry. He was poor. He didn't wash. He wasn't. I think he if you met him in a pub, it wasn't going to be. It would be difficult for a woman to fall in love with him, I think. But
when did he write it?
Well, that's a good question. That is a good question. Probably in the 60s, when he was living in Dublin.
I thought it was older.
Yeah. No, because he's not. No, Patrick Kavanagh is not. And, well, okay. Yeah.
And Roy is going to. Most Irish people now know this poem as a song as well. It's very poetic, and it's a little hard to understand some of the ideas, but it's basically the story Roy just said. And it was written as a poem, but people like the Dubliners recorded it as well.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think the story goes that Patrick Kavanagh suggested to Luke Kelly of the Dubliners, who was the main singer of the Dubliners, that that this song, his poem, would work well to a tune, an existing tune, which was The Dawning of the Day, and that he should try it. And this is the tune. I hope you will recognize it eventually when I sing it, but hopefully it will be recognizable. Okay, so you're the first half of our double act, Neil.
All right, Roy. Okay.
Yeah.
On Raglan Road, okay.
Yeah.
Very noisy. On Raglan Road on an autumn day, I met her first and knew that her dark hair would weave a snare that I might one day rue. I saw the danger, yet I walked along the enchanted way, and I said, let grief be a fallen leaf at the dawning of the day. On Grafton Street in November, we tripped lightly along the ledge of the deep ravine where can be seen the worth of passion's pledge. The Queen of Hearts still making tarts, and I not making hay. Oh, I loved too much, and by such and such is happiness thrown away. I gave her gifts of the mind, I gave her the secret sign that's known to artists who have known the true gods of sound and stone and word and tint. I did not stint, for I gave her poems to say. With her own name there and her own dark hair, like clouds over fields of May. On a quiet street where old ghosts meet, I see her walking now, away from me so hurriedly, my reason must allow that I had wooed, not as I should, a creature made of clay. When the angel woos, the clay he'd lose his wings at the dawn of day.
Oh.
Follow that.
Wonderful.
On Raglan Road on an autumn day, I met her first and knew that her dark hair would weave a snare that I might one day rue. I saw the danger, yet I walked along the enchanted way, and I said, let grief be a fallen leaf at the dawning of the day. On Grafton Street in November, we tripped lightly along the ledge of the deep ravine where can be seen the worth of passion's pledge. The Queen of Hearts still making tarts, and I not making hay. Oh, I love too much, and by such is happiness thrown away. I gave her gifts of the mind, I gave her the secret sign that's known to the artists who have known the true gods of sound and stone. And word and tint I did not stint, for I gave her poems to say. With her own name there and her own dark hair, like clouds over fields of May. On a quiet street where old ghosts meet, I see her walking now, away from me so hurriedly, my reason must allow that I had wooed not as I should, a creature made of clay. When the angel woos, the clay he'd lose his wings at the dawn of day.
Bravo!
There you
Roy
go.
Willoughby!
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Well done.
Thank
How
you
did
very
that
much,
sound in
Roy.
Indaiatuba? In Indaiatuba, did it sound okay?
And São Paulo too.
Yeah.
Marcos is
Yeah.
just celebrating the Roy Presley show. Wow, I like
Roy
it.
Presley. Well, a one for the money, a two for the show,
you know.
three.
Kerstin, I know you have your time, so I'm so sad. It's not like it's the time just flies, and then
Have we
Yes,
time
but-
for Kerstin to hear one? Or you have to go now, do you? You literally now.
No. I still have 4 minutes. I set my
Can
timer.
Simone read a poem
Yes,
in 4 minutes?
course.
I'm sure you can. Before you go.
yes, please, Simone.
Oh,
Thank you.
actually, Roy asked me to read this poem because it's
This is the one you
that
wrote. Yeah.
wrote everything I read. I will read, but this one was published actually, and somehow it got a little bit of a life of its own, and it got republished, translated into Spanish, and then republished. So I'm gonna read it in English. So I wrote it. I wrote it in English, and it's a little bit of an interesting theme. I'm sure you'll see why. I'll just go ahead and we'll talk after. So it's called The Present. Okay. I have a dilemma. I set out to buy a present for the person I hate the most, and I don't know what to get her. What would she fancy? She likes mind games and corrosive slander, but I don't think they sell these in the local gift shop. They say you cannot go wrong with a bottle of expensive champagne. Perhaps she'd think I poisoned it, and I'd end up wasting perfectly aged bubbles on cleaning greasy drains on its way down. Those I asked for advice thought it was a joke or madness. Generosity towards somebody who has wronged you can be easily mistaken for lack of esteem, or worse, for saintly hypocrisy. Each year, we make a point of rewarding some of those who have shaped our lives through kindness, but we reject or ignore those who made us better by standing opposite us in hatred or contempt. I set out to buy a present to my nemesis, and I found it tucked away in a small antique shop. At first, it didn't call out to me until I looked closer and saw the portrait of a strong woman. I set out to buy a present, and I did. I got her a mirror.
Very nice.
Oh,
Nice.
Very,
There you
very
are.
good.
Beautiful.
It's amazing.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you, Simone. Hi, Ariane. Marisa. Hi, Misael. Hi, Lula. You are all very welcome here. We have a poem from Brazil, and I want to ask Gaudiê to read the poem, the Marcos. But Kerstin, it's just
Yes, I need to go because my students are waiting.
I know.
On
Oh,
Zoom.
right.
I
You
just have
can
to
catch
switch,
up.
the platform.
Yeah. You are very multi-platform today. But
Yes.
you can catch up with it. Have a look back and see what you
Yes,
missed
I will.
on
I
the
definitely will.
Teachers Talk Facebook page, you know.
So it was
So,
very nice to meeting all of you.
Dankeschön.
Yes,
and
I
thank
hope
you for the
we'll
poem.
see each other again sometime.
Frühlein.
Yes.
Thank you for that.
Fräulein.
Thank
No, Roy, see you on Monday.
Yeah,
Have a
we'll
good
do.
weekend,
Okay,
all of
cheers. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Good to
Thank
see
you.
you. Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.
See you.
Cheers.
Very good, guys. So
Great.
yes, and okay, Neil, how are you? Just before
I'm
we move
okay.
on with how are you keeping? Are you well? How is the pandemic? How's life?
Tell her how you really are,
okay.
Neil. Now, tell the truth about your
Yeah.
back.
No, I have a problem with my back or something at the
Really?
moment.
I
So
know
if
the
you see
feeling.
me,
I know the feeling.
do you, Roy? You can give me
Yeah.
your
Oh,
consultation.
A bad back is a terrible thing, so it is.
It is.
I think
It
it was
is.
like this 2 weeks ago. It was 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, probably. I don't really remember. But he was working hard to warm his place. He was just No, right. I'm joking. It's a bad joke.
I'm not too bad. I'm not too bad, thanks. Okay. So but if you see me making strange faces, it's because I get a sudden dart of pain. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No pain, no pain, no gain.
No pain, no gain. So Gaudiê, are you going to read for us or sing a song?
Yes, I'm going to read a poem by a Brazilian writer. He was a genius, Ariano Suassuna.
And I'm so surprised that he was a poet too. Thank you, Marcus, because as far as I knew, like I was aware, of course, he's an amazing writer, and he wrote Alto da Compadecida, which is a famous movie in Brazil. There is no translation to English, and he is brilliant. He's such a good sense of humor. He's amazing, but I didn't know that he was a poet as well. So Gaudiê, can you please just read this?
Alto da Compadecida is a movie about like the real deep Brazil, you know, like as we say, the deep Brazil. So in the northeast of Brazil, if I'm right, and the story goes on like talking about the people who live there and an event.
Is this Amazonas? No, is that
no. North.
Sorry, disculpa.
Amazon is in the north. It's like the northeast.
All right.
So it has a little bit different culture than the Amazon culture.
All right. Yeah.
So and it talks about that region. You know, I think it's in the age of the cangaço, which was like a movement that it's too difficult to talk about. But it's like our Robin Hood. But anyway.
So Marcus helped you, and thank you, Marcus. Yes, so that's the poem.
You saved my life, Marcus. Here we go. I have got two weapons to fight against the despair, the sadness and death, the smile and the dream. With these qualities, I am able to face the tough and fascinating task of living.
Short and sweet, and to the point.
Very nice. Yeah,
so if you smile and dream, you are on the pig's back, as we say in Irish, on the pig's back. You are okay. That's wow. That's great. So hey, come on. What about do it in Portuguese? Have you got the Portuguese version there?
Please,
just
Marcus,
to hear it.
Yes, finish your job. You started. Can you now? It's just asking people. This is not nice. Gaudiê, you should do this, Gaudiê. By the time I have a story to share with Simone. Last weekend, I also work as a caregiver. I still do this job, and it's a very nice job. And last weekend, I was working for a lady, and she's 102 years old.
Wow!
An Irish
even
lady,
older than me. She's older than me.
Yeah, she's twice my age, and it's funny enough, like not funny, but it's just a nice coincidence because she was saying she's totally aware of everything, and she controls her own tablets, and she goes to the toilet by herself. This is so amazing. It's just like she's in great form. And she was saying, "Oh, Gaudiê, that's true. Yeah, it's hard because there is a time where you just have to use nappies. That's reality. For some people, they just keep going. But it's like that's something that we have to deal with. And then Gaudiê will never get old. He just his face. I know him.
Forever young.
Yeah, forever young. So yeah, and then she was saying to live long and to have a good life, you only need a roof, and you need a smile on your face. And
Really?
yes, that's what she said. This is her secret. This is her secret.
That's nice. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
she's right.
Yeah. And she just said, you don't need much, like you don't need to many or whatever property, you know, and stuff. You just need a place to live, of course, food, and but a smile. Simone, because you write your poems, what's your inspiration when you do this?
Well, inspiration is easily found anywhere. I think what's more important is being in the right mood, and then most importantly, having the discipline. So there is this famous saying that happiness writes white, which means that when you're happy, you don't write. You need to be pining after somebody that you see on the road and never get that person to be writing a poem about them. You don't really write when you're very happy. So writing is something that's cathartic for me. So literally it can be any source of inspiration, and it can be phrases that I hear on a TV show or people on the street, but it has to be something that then echoes deeper so I can access creativity and then start writing.
Very nice. So Gaudiê, Marcus saved your day twice because he just Did you? Yeah. Because Marcus did too.
Yeah.
Yes. Gaudiê, can you read this, please?
Yes, of course I can. Tenho duas armas para lutar contra o desespero: a tristeza e até a morte, o riso a cavalo e o galope do sonho. É com isso que enfrento a essa dura e fascinante tarefa de viver.
It's the translation. Very nice. Thank you, Marcus. Thank you very much.
Yeah, great.
Beautiful. Very beautiful. He literally saved my life because I had absolutely anything prepared. But I must say that I kind of envy you guys because I'm not very familiar with poetry, so I'm more the music guy. So yes.
Yeah, well, I think some of the lyrics of music is poetic.
Yeah, I was talking about that recently with a friend of mine. Like when I'm listening to a song, the last thing that I would pay attention is to the lyrics. The very last thing. If I pay attention to it, you know. So it's I don't have the habit of pay attention to the lyrics, and consequently, I don't have the habit of reading poems, poetry, and etc. It's quite shameful. I'm pretty ashamed of it, to be honest. But
Neil, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Neil, when you are memorizing if you go like memorizing your role, your play, is it difficult when you have to memorize? I don't know. It's just maybe it helps. I don't know. It's just something.
No, I find it very difficult. But Roy and Simone will know this as well because of the plays that they do. You know, but I find it quite difficult. The way I like to learn, if I have to learn a part in a play, for example, I like to just do it by repetition, by rehearsing, and then automatically it goes into your head. But I find nowadays that a lot of younger actors, you give them a play or something to learn, and they go home and they memorize it, and then they come back a day or two later and they know it. I can't do that. I find that very difficult. I have to just rehearse. Yeah. Would you agree?
I'm very curious about something. Well, if for example you are a classical musician and you work in an orchestra, you literally know aloud to improvise. You have to read every single note by note on your music sheet. Do you guys have the same relationship with the script? Like, are you allowed to improvise at some sort of, or you just have to follow like strictly what is written in the script?
It's a good question, but it depends on the director and the playwright. I think, you know, usually you try to keep to the script as it is, but it depends on on the production.
Yeah. Improvisation comes when you forget your lines. You know, you actually forget the line, and then you go. That's certainly what I found. But I when learning lines, there, you know, a lot of it is what's the word, sequential, where it is obvious. You know, what is your name, Roy?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, obviously, that sort of thing. But that's when learning is easy. But it's when then it is non-sequential. It doesn't follow from the story. You have a line that is not related to what's been said before. So I've always found that you make some association and make a connection with what's been said before. And it may be the stupidest of connection, but if there is some association with the line before that has no, that doesn't, it's not sequential, it's not, you know, following it, but it, you know, I can't think of an example, but you know, you might have a line that is referring to food next, and she might say, you know, you know, it's a cakewalk. It's very easy, you know, and you think cake, food, you know, but that's probably a bad example. But where there is an unrelated, you know, it's an association. And I think with memory, it's that you make associations with something and you hang it on. And I think that's how memory works, that these people who can memorize a whole audience of names in a, you know, they do shows about this memory, and I think the way they do it is they look at a face and they associate the face with something, you know, you know, you look at Gaudiê and you might say he's very gaudy. Gaudy is a word that is not very complimentary, but it is a word that explain. How would you explain gaudy? You know, that's what you make a relationship between Gaudiê and gaudy. So you think of the association, and then you think of Gaudiê, you know. But no, you're not gaudy. But you know, that sort of thing. You could pretend, you know.
What about you, Simone? What's your experience
in learning lines?
Yeah.
So I would use similar techniques of trying to make associations, and then of course you wait for the cue from the other person, especially if it's a dialogue. So sometimes if they're not saying the right words, then your mind goes like, wait, I'm waiting for something, and it doesn't happen. But as Roy knows, I've written and directed a one-act play, and it was actually last year during the pandemic. And what I found is that it was actually very, very, very interesting to allow the actors to do a little bit of improv, because that meant that they would be able to get into the character, and then based on that I would make some changes to the script, so that there was a natural feeling to it. And I suppose when you have a good playwright or a good script writer, they'd be able to have the intuition of the natural flow of things, and that would help the actors you know, be able to get into character really fast.
So it's like a matter of interpreting and comprehending the text, not as just memorizing.
But I mean, you do have to not to become fully that character, but to be able to empathize and understand that character well enough, so that it is you. I mean, it is a part of you. It's a persona that you're constructing for a play. It's not just some lines that you spew out. You know, it's not just the memory, it's the becoming of that character. Who am I when I say these lines? Roy, am I right about this, or Neil? You have more experience.
No, I agree with you. Yeah, absolutely. It can be terrible if the person you're acting with forgets their lines, because that really throws you. That's a bit of a worry. But
and
go
where
ahead,
did I see a scene in a series or something where the actors knew each other so well that they knew each other's lines? And and a guy, he was trying to, I think it was an audition for a play, and the guy he was auditioning read his lines, not you know, his own line, you know, if you mind, you know, the guy who was auditioning, and that didn't throw him, because he had learned it so much that he had learned both parts, and he was able to turn it around. But it does help if you know your colleagues or your fellow actors' lines as well. Or at least the last sentence before your cue. I think we should have another poem.
Oh yes. I was going to ask Simone when we might see her play. When will we see your play?
Oh, well, is it still online? Is it still up there, Simone?
Yeah, and we are actually going to show it at the beginning of May. We're going to show my play and then another short play that was made, the Charles Richards one. So yeah, I'm going to send on the information and the link. So at the moment we're re-showing that end of May. We don't have the dates set yet, but it should happen soon.
Excellent, good. I look forward to seeing those. Yeah, great.
Yes, October, please, God. Simone, can you read one? And I would like to read one as well. If you can, if you let me guide. Simone, please. So you go first.
Yes. Okay. All right. So this poem is called Equation. Equation. Draw out the shape of happiness in the lines of my body. When I hold my arms parallel to the ground in anticipation of a loving hug. Measure the distance between the lines on my forehead to quantify the square surface of the longing I feel. It is directly proportional to the weight of your indifference multiplied by the number of events. Write an equation to calculate the curvature of my lips when they suddenly break into a smile. Draw, estimate, calculate, erase, count, expand, alter, straighten, merge all the lines that make me who I am, and ask yourself, what is the mathematical condition that she is a necessary equation for?
Lovely.
That's lovely. I like that. That's very nice. Yeah, lovely. Yeah, lovely.
Equals brilliance.
We have we have a poem. Nice. Marcus is saying that so go ahead. You have another one. But the time you organize yourself, Marcus, I will read a poem that, first of all, I will tell people who he is. His name is Vinícius de Moraes, and he's my favorite Brazilian poet. He studied law at the University of Brazil and English literature at Oxford University in England. He became a diplomat in 1943 and served in Los Angeles, Paris, and Montevideo. He has transposed the lyricism characteristic of his poetry into popular music, and today is considered to be the Pope of Bossa Nova. He is also interested in cinema and wrote the script of Marcel Camus' film Black Orpheus. He was born in 1913, and when he died, I was so upset because I really, really liked him. And he was part of my life in a sense because, his music were there and I really, really like him. And I have a short sonnet of separation. And this is a translation by Ashley Brown. Ashley Brown, yes. Suddenly laughter becomes sobbing, silent and white like the mist, and united mouths became foam, and upturned hands became astonished. Suddenly the calm became the wind that extinguished the last flame in the eye, and passion became foreboding, and the still moments become drama. Suddenly, no more than suddenly, we who'd become a lover become sad, and the who become content become lone. The near become the distant friend, life became a vagrant venture, suddenly no more than suddenly. I will read in Portuguese because it's beautiful. De repente, do riso fez-se o pranto, silencioso e branco como a bruma, e das bocas unidas fez-se a espuma, e das mãos espalmadas fez-se o espanto. De repente, da calma fez-se o vento, que dos olhos desfez a última chama, e da paixão fez-se o pressentimento, e do momento imóvel fez-se o drama. De repente, não mais que de repente, fez-se de triste o que se fez amante, e de sozinho o que se fez contente. Fez do amigo próximo, distante, fez-se da vida uma aventura errante. De repente, e não mais que de repente.
Well done.
Yes.
Yeah.
Vinícius de Moraes. Yes.
Fernando, amiga próxima.
Your Portuguese is very good.
Yes, thank you very much.
She started learning at a very young age.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Can I play a tune?
Can you? Ask your mother. Ask your mother. She is.
Mommy, please.
Oh, come on. No, don't. Behave yourself. Marcus has 3 parts of the poem. And who is the writer, Marcus, please? And I would ask Simone, Neil, and Roy to read them. Is this Portuguese, Marcus? Please let me know. Who is the author?
Where is Marcus?
See.
Marcus. Okay,
Marcus
so
is in Brazil.
Yeah, but Marcus, are you looking at the comments section, Neil, on your screen? Can you click open the comments?
I don't think.
Are you on your phone or a laptop?
I'm on my phone.
He's the writer. Oh my God, that's nice. He's the writer.
Marcus wrote this himself.
Oh,
Yes.
okay, that's good.
Yeah. Okay, Neil. So you don't have the comments on your screen, no? And
I'm not sure. Maybe I can something called chat. Maybe I can use that. I don't know.
Can I? If I click here, Neil, can you read this there?
Oh yeah, you can put it up on the main screen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
I can read. Yeah, I can read that.
So if you read part 1 and Simone reads part 2, I will read part 3.
Yes.
Is that okay?
No.
And this is Marcus.
Yeah.
This is Marcus's poem.
Yeah.
Is it?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hope it's not inflammatory or doesn't make it's not libelous or anything. Is it? All the knowledge is welcome for more education better. Oh, good.
I don't see the poem though.
No.
Well, are you not seeing on the screen where you see Fernanda? Do you not see Marcus VC part 1? No.
Apparently, Neil is on his phone. That's why he can see it.
All right.
I think Neil is on his phone, right? Are you on?
Yeah, you're on your phone, Neil. Are you? Are you on your phone,
Yeah,
Neil?
but
okay.
he was supposed to be able to. He was.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
Oh,
okay.
no.
Well, here.
He's gone.
Technology.
Yeah.
He's gone. Oh,
He's
now
gone.
all right.
But he will be back.
Okay.
Yes. So we
And
change
Simone,
it.
can you see them? Can you see them, Simone?
Yes, I can see them.
So Simone starts and then
Okay.
starts and then Gaudiê, you read part 3, please, Gaudiê. Yes. Okay. Thank you.
And am I reading part 2 then?
Yes.
Okay. Right. With feeling, Simone.
All right. Evening meetings that bring different subjects. The host, who is able to bring good people and conversation.
The music that brings interaction, and the singer who is an example of good humor and knowledge.
All the knowledge is welcome for more education and better thoughts in a world of mental health contribution.
Very good, Marcus.
I hope we did that justice, as we say, Marcus. But so it's a tribute to Teachers Talk, yeah.
This is yes. Oh, thank you.
So
very good.
The question is it a positive contribution to the world of mental health, or is it, for more education and better thoughts in a world of mental health contribution? So hopefully it is a positive contribution. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcus.
Obrigado,
Well done.
Marcus. Yeah.
Yes, positive. Thank you very much. Yes. Neil, do you have a poem for? And then we do a final round, and Simone and Roy and Gaudiê, if Gaudiê wants to play, so I think we can start from the poem.
Okay. So
And if you are, yes, if you want to, Neil, to read or to say, yeah. And I just want to let people know, if you are coming back to this video and you are not there live, you can please make a comment and type your poem. It doesn't matter if it's Spanish or French or Portuguese or English, because we need arts to survive. We are living a very hard time. So if you are coming back to this video, please be nice and type a poem.
Simone, can I have a cup of coffee?
It's tea, actually.
Oh, tea. Oh, don't worry then. It's okay. My poem is probably too long, so you only have 6 minutes left, is it?
No, we don't. Take your time. Go ahead. Yes.
No, it's a poem that a lot of people will know. It's the Yates poem. Roy knows it very well. I'm sure Simone does too. The Song of Wandering Aengus.
All right. Yeah. Well, I don't know it very well, but I know of it.
Well, Aengus is a character from Celtic mythology, and he, in the poem, he goes out fishing. But before he goes fishing, he goes to a magic wood, a hazel wood, where he cuts a branch off a hazel bush or tree, and he makes it into a fishing rod. And he goes fishing, and he catches a fish, a little trout. And he goes back to his cottage, and he goes to light a fire, maybe to cook the trout, but something strange happens. And yeah, that's it, really. There's a lot of symbolism in Yates, of course, which is a little difficult, but maybe we'll talk about that again afterwards.
Please.
I went out to the hazel wood because a fire was in my head, and cut and peeled a hazel wand, and hooked a berry to a thread. And when white moths were on the wing, and moth-like stars were flickering out, I dropped the berry in a stream, and caught a little silver trout. When I had laid it on the floor, I went to blow the fire aflame, but something rustled on the floor, and someone called me by my name. It had become a glimmering girl with apple blossom in her hair, who called me by my name, and ran and faded through the brightening air. Though I am old with wandering through hollow lands and hilly lands, I will find out where she has gone, and kiss her lips, and take her hands, and walk among long dappled grass, and pluck till time and times are done the silver apples of the moon, the golden apples of the sun.
Well read, Neil. Fair play to you. Oh, well, yeah.
I'm sure Roy could sing. I'm sure Roy could sing that one too. Actually,
has it been transformed into a song? That one.
Oh, I've heard it sung. I've heard it sung many times.
Yeah. No, I'm not sure if I do. Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, but did he get the girl? Do question. Did he find her?
No, she went off. She ran away. You see, the fish and the salmon particularly, but the trout maybe also. The salmon is it's a fish of knowledge.
Yeah, salmon of knowledge.
Salmon of knowledge, if you like. And no, the poem is really about Yeats, the poet himself, because he was afraid Irish culture and tradition was going to disappear. And he felt if he did, he had to go after it. So the girl represents the Irish culture as well. Has everybody disappeared?
No. Are we here alone?
No,
you are. Yes, I can only see you.
Let me solve this.
Yeah. Somebody's got it. We are back again. Yeah. Oh, I see. Is your mother left? Has she she got a
I
better
think
offer.
she maybe had an emergency and she had to leave, but she will be back. She will be back.
Yeah, yeah.
Technical failures. That's something like that.
Okay,
Wow,
Simon.
that was a
Yeah,
beautiful
thank you,
poem.
Neil. Yeah, yeah. I before the end, maybe Simone will do one, but I have another Yates one,
Some
and
Yates
you
one,
may
yeah.
know it, and I but maybe we'll have a break from Yates. Simone, have you another one?
I do. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm happy to read. So this one is actually based on a conversation that I had with somebody who lives in Dublin Port in Ringsend. And they were telling me about memories since they were children of what life was like. And they would not be allowed to go fishing, but they would do it. And they would, whatever fish they would have, and they would just leave in the bathtub until they managed to give it all away to neighbors. So the poem is called 60 Salmon in the Bath. There was a cut between his index and his thumb. The rod gave, my father said, and we all ate breakfast in silence. Through vapors of hot porridge, I saw the fog on the Liffey and heard the furrow of 4 pine oars against the current. Needs grease, Billy Bibb must have said, clutching the tiller rope. He says that every time. Night whispered hello and goodbye. The catch never let down. I wanted to take a bath. I wanted to swim. But there was no rubber duck, just 60 salmon in my bath.
Lovely. They're very nice poems, Simone. You have a lovely sense of humor. It's very nice.
Thank you very much. And thanks for having me here.
Apparently, Marcus wants to have a question. Wants to ask a question about the poem.
About which poem, though? Related to his poem or another one? Well, ask Marcus, and we will see. We cannot guarantee we can answer, but ask.
What is your question, Marcus? Now, who's next? Roy.
Okay, Neil, do you know this poem, The Second Coming?
Oh, yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Written by Yates in 1919. Okay, so 102 years ago. But interestingly, a very interesting time in Irish history. It was just after the First World War, and we had the beginning of the Irish War of Independence, and then we had then the Civil War. But this is all happening 100 years ago. But we also had the pandemic of the Spanish flu, and it was amazing. I mean, the 23,000 people died from the flu in Ireland, and 800,000 people were infected over a 12-month period. And worldwide, 50 million people died. And his wife, who was expecting a baby, Yates's wife, was in a bad way, but in fact recovered and had the baby. And his father also, John, I think, was Yates's father. He was in New York and got a bad dose of the Spanish flu, but also recovered. But anyway, this is written in this, and some people say it's about the pandemic. Some people say it's about other things. Turning and turning in the widening gyre, the falcon cannot hear the falconer. Things fall apart. The centre cannot hold. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the world. The blood-dimmed tide is loosed, and everywhere the ceremony of innocence is drowned. The best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity. Surely some revelation is at hand. Surely the second coming is at hand. The second coming. Hardly are those words out when a vast image out of spiritus mundi troubles my sight. Somewhere in sands of the desert, a shape with lion body and the head of a man, a gaze blank and pitiless as the sun, is moving its slow thighs while all about it reel shadows of the indignant desert birds. The darkness drops again. But now I know that 20 centuries of stony sleep were vexed to nightmare by a rocking cradle. And what rough beast, its hour come round at last, slouches towards Bethlehem to be born?
That was
There you
excellent. Excellent, Roy. Very well read.
The cradle, the hand that rocks the cradle, I think, was about the violence of the First World War, I think. And then,
Yes.
you know, is it time, I don't know, is it time for the second coming of Christ? 2,000 years. Yeah. So anyway, written 100 years ago. Well, 1919, you know.
Marcus, questions.
Yeah.
Does the landscape help you to create a poem? What's the best landscape you have for your inspiration? Cheers.
Oh, that's obviously for Simone, but then Neil, and then I'm not. Go on. I think you sort of answered this. You answered this question earlier, Simone, but about inspiration. But anyway, address Marcus's question.
Thanks for the question, Marcos, and lovely to have you here with the comments and everything. So for me personally, I love I don't necessarily get inspiration from landscape as much as I get it from waterscape. I do a lot of rowing, so I'm out on the sea often, and my favorite places to be are either out there on the sea or Dublin Canal, so close to the water, whether it's the sea or smaller. That really helps me. There's something about the flow that really does help inspire me. So for me, it's the seascape, the waterscape.
Interesting, very interesting. And you, Neil?
Well, I don't write poetry really. I think I attempted one or two poems in the past, but I do think landscape must inspire a lot of poets, and I love poetry that is inspired by landscape. Like if you go back to some of the really old poets like William Wordsworth and people like that, they're wonderful poems written about landscape. If I were an artist, a painter, I would be painting landscapes, but I'm not at that either, I'm afraid.
I don't know. I don't know what about you guys, but like when I try to write music, I wouldn't say that I'm a composer or a music writer, but you know, every now and then I would come up with something. But I'm just hit by the inspiration, you know, like I'm sitting, play the guitar, and suddenly an idea comes completely out of the blue, and in a matter of minutes I have a full song, you know, like it just strikes me, you know, like a truck.
Gaudiê, are you going to sing something for us?
I was going to play a tune. Well, Marcus, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah.
I was going to play a tune.
Okay,
it's an instrumental song because, as I said, I'm not very good with poems and poetry and writing lyrics. So I would like to play a tune by a Brazilian guitarist, which is called Fábio Gouveia, a monster of a guitar player. And I think he's doing poetry with the melody, you know, because the harmony is pretty intriguing and complicated and fancy and all the stuff, but the melody is very simple and beautiful and complements the complexity of the harmony. So
excellent.
I should recommend to check him out. He's a monster. His name is Fábio Gouveia, and the name of the song is Petricor. Petricor. It's like Petri. I don't even know if that's a word in Portuguese, but that's the name of the tune, like Petricor.
Okay.
So here it is. Let's go. Let me get it. Okay. Can you hear loud and clear?
Yep.
Yeah. Very good. Yep. Well done.
Quick one.
Well done.
That was a quick one.
Obrigado. Yeah.
I must have warned you guys that I'm a really terrible singer. But you know,
but you said it was instrumental, but there was lyrics, but it was nira, nira. Is that it? What?
Yeah, the lyrics was
excellent. Yeah.
Very interesting lyrics.
And how many strings have you got on that guitar? Is that 8 strings? No, how many?
Oh no, this is a 7 strings.
7 strings, 7. Yeah,
yes.
Extra. Yeah, great sound.
The
An extra
beat.
bass. Yeah, good, fantastic. But you still only have 5 fingers. Have you? Have you 5
yes,
fingers?
I do indeed. I do indeed. Unfortunately, I do indeed have only 5 fingers. But it's still quite useful, you know, to have the extra bass.
That's poetry. That is poetry to my ears as well. You know, it's beautiful. Yeah, beautiful stuff.
Gaudiê, can I ask you, is that composer a contemporary composer? He's still alive.
He is indeed. He's quite young. He's around his 40, I'm guessing. He's my teacher's teacher.
Okay, because it's what I would call 21st century music. Yeah. Good.
Yes, it is indeed. It is indeed.
Great.
Oh, and thank you for the congratulations, Marcus. Thank you very much. Cheers, appreciate it.
Yes. Marcus asked a question about, does landscape inspire you? But I can't speak personally. But we all know that we have a very famous area in, well, those of us in Ireland, in County Clare called the Burren. And it's a fantastic landscape. And I recommend anyone to go to see it. It looks like the moon. It's limestone, but it is much more than that. It's much more than rock. But the feeling is that maybe this landscape inspired Tolkien when he was writing Lord of the Rings, I think. You know, he used to come to Ireland, and I just just looked it up now. He was visiting examiner in English in University of Galway, which is only like 30 kilometers away from the Burren, maybe a little more, maybe 30 miles. And he was visiting examiner of NUI Galway between 1949 and 1959. And during this time, he revised and published Lord of the Rings. And the feeling is that, like the caves and a lot of the undergrowth of the trees might have inspired his writing for that. And I mean, I recommend also, there is a brilliant documentary on RTE television, which I think is still on the RTE player, called Burren Heart of Stone, and that is in 2 parts, and it shows you how beautiful a place is, and there are some great interviews and great pictures of rock, flora and fauna. But one other thing I found also, I literally Googled the Burren and poems, and John Betjeman wrote a poem called Ireland with Emily, and it's apparently about the Burren, and I found it, and if I with permission I will read it. It's got 5 verses, but I will try not to be too long. But I think this is landscape and this is poetry, and John Betjeman was poet laureate, wasn't he, Neil, in the UK?
He was, yeah. Very good poet, very interesting poet. Yeah.
Now I'm reading this without really having seen it, but I will give it a go and see. All right, here we go. Bells are booming down the Boreens, white the mist along the grass. Now the Julias, Maeves, and Maureens move between the fields to mass. Twisted trees of small green apple guard the decent whitewashed chapel. Gilded gates and doorway grained, pointed windows richly stained with many-coloured Munich glass. See the black-shawled congregations on the broidered vestment gaze, murmur past the painted stations as thy sacred heart displays. Lush Kildare of scented meadows, Roscommon thin in ash tree shadows, and Westmead the lake reflected, spreading leaks the hill protected, kneeling all in silver haze. In yews and woodbine walls and gelder, nettle deep the faithful rest, winding leagues of flowering elder, sycamore with ivy dressed, ruins in domains deserted, bogs surrounded, brambles skirted, townlands rich or townlands mean as these, O counties of them, screen us in the kingdom of the west. Stony seaboard, far and foreign, stony hills poured over space, stony outcrop of the Burren, stones in every fertile place, little fields with boulders dotted, grey stone shoulders saffron spotted, stone-walled cabins thatched with reeds, where a Stone Age people breeds, the last of Europe's Stone Age race. Has it held the warm June weather, draining shallow sea pools dry, when we bicycled together down the Boreens fuchsia high, till there rose abrupt and lonely a ruined abbey, chancel only, lichen crusted, time befriended, soared the arches, splayed and splendid, Romanesque against the sky. And the final verse, there in pinnacled protection, one extinguished family waits, a Church of Ireland resurrection by the broken rusty gates. Sheep's wool, straw, and droppings cover graves of spinster, rake, and lover, whose fantastic mausoleum sings its own sea-blown Te Deum in and out the slipping slates. Now, not much of that was about the Burren, but it was around about Ireland. I don't know the story behind it. Ireland with Emily is the name of the poem. It's online, John Betjeman. But there is that verse about the Burren. But that's landscape, and that's, you know, inspiration from it. But he writes in this rhyming couplets, doesn't he, Neil? The Boreens, Maureens, grass and mass.
Very clever. He was a very clever poet.
Yeah,
I like his poetry a lot. Yeah, well done, Roy. That was nice. Well done.
Beautiful.
Well, though I read it on the blind, I didn't think you would mind.
Guys,
Roy, we just
are,
come.
Yeah, Simone, if you want to leave a message, please do it. And if, like, where people can find you, is there anything you are doing? Please just why are you laughing, Roy? Share.
Tell them to come through me, and I will give them Simone's phone number. I will be your agent. No,
I don't know how to post a comment. I'm sorry, I don't know how to here, but
yeah, we can't. Oh, we can't. We can only have private chats on this. I don't think there is. We can add to the public comment.
I can if you tell me. Just try to.
All right. Yeah. Well, you have a publication. You have a book. Yeah.
No, I'm part of an anthology. So
an anthology. Yeah. Okay. Do you know that word, Fernanda? Anthology.
Yes.
And does it exist in Portuguese? Antologia.
Yeah, the same word. The same word. The best book of Vinicius de Moraes is his anthology. Anthologia.
All right, anthology. Yeah. So, what is the name of your anthology, Simone?
Well, it's called Writing Home.
Writing Home.
Yes, and it was published by Daedalus Press.
Oh, very good.
In Stephen Daedalus. Is that Dealus? Daedalus Press, or is it Daed? Ded. Daedalus. Stephen Daedalus from. So
you will find there a lot of, well, it's New Irish. It's New Irish poets.
Very good.
So be a lot of people there.
I actually, I don't know if this is relevant, but I was listening to a lovely interview with Miriam O'Callaghan on Sunday with the singer Declan O'Rourke, and he sang a song called "The Stars Over Kinvara," I think it was called, and he's living out that directly in Galway. But I recommend people to listen back to that interview. Yes.
Yes, is this? Can you see this?
Yes.
Simone?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is on your Facebook page, and there people can find some information. Is that true?
There is a lady naked in the bath drinking wine, isn't that right? And another lady looking at the mirror, and the lady in the bath is reading a specific book. And I remember looking at it when I saw this on Facebook, and I've forgotten what the name of the book is. Do you know the name of the book she's reading in the bath, or can you see it? Do you know it, Simone?
Really, I don't know it. But
maybe
that was that was an interpretation of the poem I read there, which is the
mirror, the one that the present to someone you hate. Okay, so are you in the bath?
No. This is no.
I recognize you, Simone. Yeah, I recognize you.
Well, it's interesting that it was interpreted as a love relationship between two ladies, because that's not how I wrote this poem. Although I do like the illustration, which I didn't make. So yeah.
Very good.
So, but anyway,
is there a link here, Simone, for that we can share? No.
It didn't allow me to. It did not allow me to post a link, but I will share there on that. Give me 1 second, and I will share the Writing Home link.
Okay.
Book. So I'll do that now.
Yeah. Well, we can and Fernanda can put it onto Teacher's Talk, or you can.
Yes.
And spread the gospel of poetry. And how about have you been on the poetry program on radio more than once, Simone, or you were on with Olivia O'Leary a few times?
Yeah, I was with. I was part of the poetry program with Olivia O'Leary, along with 3 other new Irish poets. Then I was asked at the launch of this anthology to read a poem that was called "Queuing for Insults."
Wow.
And it was part of the arena, so it was recorded in RTE and read it. It was broadcast.
Fantastic.
And then I was with Near FM on the radio and Dublin and Simone Sav. So yeah,
that's great.
I posted there a link to the book on that same.
And tell me, do you write poetry in Romanian? No, it's purely English. Isn't this fantastic? I mean, I said it to you before, but there we have somebody with a second language who is writing this fantastic poetry in her second language. And talking to you, you wouldn't. Sure, you sound like an Irish girl, so you do, And this girl, Simone, has also been on plays, and you put on British accents, haven't you? All sorts of accents in plays that you've been in, So
except Kerry accent, I cannot do that.
Yeah, you can. Why not? Jenna Kerry was one of the easiest ones. There's no problem.
What about you, Neil? What are you doing? Where people can find you? What's
your next gig, Neil? When's your next gig?
The future. Yes, yourself.
I don't know. Do you know something? My battery is about to go dead. So if I
I know the feeling. And how about your phone?
Disappear. I have nothing planned. I've been doing a little writing as well, but mostly short stories. And I have absolutely no idea how to get them published or anything, or if anybody is interested in reading them. But that's what I've been doing recently.
We can start from a blog.
No, maybe I'll have to think about it.
Yeah.
I'll have to think about it.
Listen,
I should probably leave you.
Yeah, I think we should probably wrap up.
If you need any help, I can help you start in your blog, and then we can move on. Yeah, very true. Yeah.
Gaudiê
yes. Go ahead, Neil.
Anyway,
Yes.
it was very nice to see you all, and I enjoyed that. That was nice, lovely.
Thanks for joining us. Yeah, I hope your back gets better, and that you will be able to play tennis soon.
I think it's going to get worse before it gets better, but we'll see what happens. So listen, I'll say goodbye. And
okay, I think we'll probably wrap up
before my phone decides for me.
Yeah.
And I'll talk to you soon. Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Neil. Thank you
very
for
much
everything.
for coming.
Okay,
Simone, please share your link, and then we can. After that, we can really say goodbye.
Yeah, I did put it up on that Facebook.
Oh, okay. Just a second.
What do you mean to put it
I just put it now on the chat, on our chat. If you want to. That's the link to the book.
I see. Perfect. Yes, now I can. Yeah. I do this now. I'll share now. And I would like to invite people as well to check a poet. His name is Thomas More, and he wrote The Hill of Tara. And I was there last Monday. It was a great experience. So this is your homework, people. If you are watching, and we are at the very end, go and check Thomas More, The Hill of Tara. And it's amazing. And
is he the guy who had Moore's melodies? Is he this different Moore? Did he write songs as well?
No, Thomas More. He's very old, Roy. I don't know. He's from the 80s.
Oh yeah, no, the 18. Yeah, Moore's melodies, but
18s, yes.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
Is this correct, Simone?
That is the book. Yeah. So that's the anthology, New Irish Poets.
Wonderful.
Well, we have a famous The Meeting of the Waters, an Irish poem by Thomas More. Now, is he the same person who wrote Moore's melodies? The Vale of Avoca, The Meeting of the Waters. Yeah, I think. The Vale of Avoca.
I don't know, right?
Yeah, that's a poem by him as well. Anyway, sorry. Are you going to recite this poem on the Hill of Tara? Are you?
No, I can't, because my reading is not the best today. I wrote so badly Vinícius de Moraes, and then I have to. Yes, it was like become. So that all that words, bad reading. So I won't take the chance and do bad for Thomas More, because the poem, it's beautiful, and the Hill of Tara, it's a very special
so
place.
That's our homework anyway. When we meet again, we can
exactly. We can start from the Hill of Tara next week. Simone,
Obrigado.
I'm very, very, very glad that you. What about William Blake? Yes, I don't know this one, Marcus. This is going to be my homework. I will check this one.
Also a poet of renown, but I'm afraid I don't know anything about him.
Thank you, Gaudiê, for typing the address, and then people can go there and find the book. Thank you very much, guys, for coming. I hope to see you all next week. Simone, it's always a pleasure. You look beautiful as always, and your hair, it's beautiful. It's nice to see you again.
For having me.
and you read beautifully as well.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Stay with everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. See you next week. Bye. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
See you.